So Margarita, thanks for spending time with us today to talk a little bit about your key IB chemistry revision tips. As an IB examiner and with 27 years of teaching experience, can you give us the top tips for our final IB students?
Sure. My first top tip is that students need to have a good understanding of the concepts, the key concepts, and the context in which these concepts can be used. And when free response question, they read the free response question, they need to straight away pick up the key concepts that they need to connect together in order to answer that question. Because the answer can be in bullet points as long as the key concepts are in their answer, in these bullet points or short sentences. This is my first tip that is important, good and deep understanding of the concepts and how they can be used in the answers. Another tip is that they can do special revision before the exams by making mind maps and peer tutoring each other, as long as they don't leave any gaps in the understanding of any of the units. And they need to try, while they're making their mind maps, they need to try to connect every single concept from unit of kinetics with other concepts and other units from other parts of the syllabus. Because chemistry, I believe that it's a very sequential science and subject, and therefore every concept can find its connection with other units. And the most fundamental concept in chemistry is bonding. Therefore, if you start revising, I would recommend everyone to brush off their knowledge of bonding, because every question around any other topic is deeply connected with the bonding. Any property, any reaction can be easily explained with the bonds that exist in particular reactants, or what kind of products should be expected to be produced. So it is key that they have a very secure knowledge of the bonding concepts. And bonding is a very, very broad topic. And when they start revising, they need to make sure that bonding is #1 topic for revision. And when they approach multiple choice questions, which this year are going to be 10% more for their final exam, they need to read carefully, because sometimes the IB puts little tricks there. They need to read carefully what the question is about, of course, underline again the keywords, and then try to eliminate the impossible answers. And usually that is easy, but sometimes the two answers that are left are quite similar and could sound both correct. And that's why the IB says which one is the best answer, which means that one of them is more general, the other one is less broad, and therefore the one that is the right answer is the one that covers most of the situations in chemistry. These are my top tips for the students, and if you have any more questions, please ask.
Margarita, as an IB examiner, where are some of the pitfalls that you see in the various different papers for IB chemistry?
As I mentioned in paper 1, these are the tricky questions that, especially the ones that have 1, 2, and 3, choose the right combination. These are very, very tricky questions. Sometimes they sound like 3 different questions in one. So they have to be carefully eliminating again the impossible answers out of these 1, 2, 3 possibilities. This is for paper 1. For paper 2, I would say that in order to answer the question, they need to first think which unit does this question come from? Second, brush off all the possible concepts that they think should be part of the answer, and then try to connect these concepts in a coherent paragraph or bullet points. Sometimes as a hint for them how many sentences or bullet points they need to include for the free response question could be determined by the number of the points that they get for the answer, because these number of points are given in the square brackets. If there are 3 points, it means that they need to hit 3 key concepts in the answer, or 3 important things about a property or a structure of substance, or explaining, using, and trying to connect the key concepts together. Another tip that I missed to mention is to understand the command terms, like explain means giving details. Or if they say only state, it means that 1 word or 1 sentence is enough for their final answer. They don't need to go into details about that. As an examiner, I've seen a lot of students have written down a lot of correct sentences about a topic that they clearly know. But these sentences, even though chemically they are correct, they don't answer the question and they don't get any points, which means that it's very important when they read the question, they understand what the question is about and what are the key words that they need to use in the answer, and to try to answer the question, not to write down anything they know about a topic from the syllabus, because it's not going to help them get points.
And in IB chemistry specifically, are there certain command terms that as an examiner you see mistakes made more often?
Explain is number 1. State and explain are the 2 probably most often used command terms. And that these are 2 different things. In explain means that you have to state something, but further give details, describe and explain the previously stated sentence. Again, using the keywords there, or the key concepts there.
And final question, Margarita, when it comes to those final weeks before the exam, what would you suggest for a student that thinks, right, what do I do to get the final improvements to give me the highest chance of scoring that important IB 7?
Well, first, I need to say that 7 is very difficult to get. Not to discourage any student, but 7 is not easy to get. But in order to reach that dream 7, I would recommend students to try to do as many past papers as possible, to look at the mark schemes and to see what is expected of them for the final answer. And then if they don't understand the mark scheme, they need to ask the teacher, they need to ask the tutor, they need to ask their peers. By the way, teaching each other is very, very important to help and boost your confidence, because this is my personal opinion, that there is no much difference between the understanding, the conceptual understanding between level 6 and level 7 students in chemistry. The difference is mainly in the confidence, because a student who is not confident, even though they might know the concepts very well, if they're not confident, this lack of confidence while they're reading the question during the exam is not giving them a good chance to explain the concepts well in the answer. And this lack of confidence is actually the barrier for them to get the 7. Whereas the level 7 student, they are confident in their knowledge and they're not scared when they see a question. And the first thought is, I know the answer, not well, what is the question is about.
Mm. Margarita, thank you so much for your valuable tips. I know it'll make a real difference to many of our students. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, and hopefully all the students will get the confidence to get the 7 at the end.